Chad want to be part of the IES. Yes, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. This is crazy, isn't it? What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. Thank you very much for stopping by. You very much appreciate it. I'm just looking into my Rolex right now. I just gotta say it's Rolex, so you know. no. I'm just kidding. It's not Rolex. I bought this one. It's made by Nigerian. Yeah, I do have Rolex though, but yeah, this is not one of them. Congratulations. You know, Nigeria is not just about Boko Haram and stuff. Some of the guys producing some good stuff. I appreciate that. It's beautiful. How are you doing today? Thank you. We like you here, man. Thank you. My name is Zack. I appreciate you. This is family. You want to know about the motherland? You are at the right place. We don't sugarcoat here. We say things the way they are. Sometimes people get pissed off, but hey, we don't give a continental. The goal is to grow. All of us move forward. That's all that matters. I understand people get touchy and, you know, talk about my country. Nobody give a continental about your country. There's no such thing as country in Africa. I'm sorry. Whether you like it or not, you can, cry me a river. Okay? The continent was one. You see that? That's how the continent was until the white man came in 1884 and slashed it into small pieces. And some people actually hate each other in one country. They feel like they shouldn't be in that country, like the Biafrans in Nigeria. They don't want to be part of Nigeria because they feel like the British forced them to be Nigerian. Anyway, let's not get into that. How are you doing today? Let's jump into this. So Chad, here's some Chad on the map. I've never been there. I can't say beautiful place, lovely people. I'm sure they are lovely people, no doubt. I think I've dealt with a couple of Chadians. Very interesting human beings. Very nice. Now, Chadian Minister of Communication and Government spokesperson Gassim Sherif publicly expressed the desire of the country to join Alliance of Sahel. Congratulations! Pick up my coffee! Go! Pick up my coffee, brother! That's Swahili of clap your hands. You know, we gotta learn Swahili. Swahili is a beautiful language, one of the most beautiful languages in the world. It's spoken in all these countries. You see all these countries here, they all speak Swahili. Congo, Uganda, Burundi, Rwanda, Tanzania, Kenya, they all speak Swahili. Surely it's things different here and there, sounds different, but they can understand one another with not a lot of effort. Very similar to people from Botswana and I think South Africa. Very, very similar. Swahili is spoken in most of these countries. Most spoken language in Africa. So imagine you knew Swahili. We just be gossiping in Swahili and nobody would know. Okay, they'll probably use AI. But anyway, let's get back to this. Now, this man described IES as a wonderful experience. He said they would seriously consider joining IES.
The AES in itself is a wonderful experience. An experience in the sense that Africans are coming together outside of ideas that come from elsewhere, outside of advisors who come from outside, that African countries are gathering with African minds, with resources that are truly African, to establish an institution in that it is already a victory. We are fortunate to have a president who is attentive and who is protective of our sovereignty. When I say sovereignty, President Mamadou Idriss Déby Itno is protective of our sovereignty, and he wants Chad to have complete sovereignty in every respect. He started with the military aspect by sending the French soldiers away. That too falls within the framework of our full sovereignty. Now, there are other aspects of our sovereignty that need to be addressed. There is the issue of the CFA franc, all matters related to the economy, issues related to geostrategy, and issues concerning the control of our resources by our own people with our own means. And all these issues must be discussed openly, without any complexes. And I believe that the experience of the AES should be extended to other countries. And I think that would be a good thing. Maybe Chad could join the AES. That's my personal opinion, and it's something that needs to be studied, something that really needs to be taken seriously. If we want an Africa that is independent, free from any contingencies, from any constraints, then we need to move towards free institutions with our own resources, with our own frameworks, with our own intellectuals who think, who reflect, and who develop institutions.
This is the spokesperson of the government speaking, okay? And you gotta ask yourself a question, why is the spokesperson speaking? We're gonna get into that. Why isn't the president speaking himself? According to the government spokesperson, such move would align with transitional president Mahatma Idris Deby Itno's objective of restoring Chad's sovereignty. He initiated this process by breaking a defense agreement with Paris, Sheriff noticed. He further emphasized the need to address other aspects related to national sovereignty. This is Chad. Chad has a long history, but we can't break it down here. We're going to give you context just now. Now, Chad broke away from France. Okay, so first of all, Chad and all these other countries have one thing in common. What it is, do you know? They were all colonized by France. That's the one. Now, Chad kept a relationship like some forced relationship. It's like, I'm giving you freedom, but I'm still going to stay in your land. That's how they did with most African countries. Yes, that's what France did. In the 1960s, African nations got freedom. But in one condition, you're going to sign a piece of paper that say my soldiers are going to stay here. Not a lot, just about 1,000 or 2,000. And also, your money you're going to be using to buy bread, I'm going to print them. That was the deal for all these African countries. Now, this person, this president you see right here, Mahatma Deby, is changing things around. Now, the spokesperson, we're still on the spokesperson, advocated the expansion of IAS. You see, IAS must be bigger. It shouldn't just be Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. We need more people in the IAS. But then on top of that, he said something very interesting. He said he needs to clarify that the comment represents his personal opinion, not that of the president. Again, you see, this is very strategical, okay? Do you think, let me just ask you a simple question, that a spokesperson of a government will say something like this without having ever had a conversation with the president to the public? You wouldn't do that, would you? That's dangerous. Why would you say that? Why would this, let's say, a spokesperson say, well, we want to take all the pregnant women from the neighboring country? Why would you say that if you have never had a discussion with somebody relevant, important? So surely the president cannot come forward and say, okay, I would like to join IOS, because number one, he doesn't know what the reaction of IOS will be. Okay, what if IOS say no, we're not interested? That looks bad. Like I just asked, they say no, we still want to be by ourselves. It looks like a rejection, and presidents don't like rejection. People with big ego don't like rejection, so they rather say, you say it and let's see the reaction. It's more plausible, more believable than the president himself saying. Because before the president gets to saying things like this, he must have had a lot of long conversations with the president of IOS. And also, let me just mention here that Ibrahim Traoré was asked very recently, what if another country wants to join us? He says on the interview,
can we expect the AES to expand in the near future?
Yes, in the future. But for now, as I said, we need to harmonize a lot of things among ourselves, really lay the foundations, because there will be many additional protocols, if you will, to harmonize our policies, whether diplomatic or economic policies.
So he said we still want to develop, we still want to understand each other. In other words, we don't have much room for other people because we're still trying to struggle with each other, try to get things working, get one of our presidents per year so we can alternate. If somebody else comes, it's going to be a lot. So maybe it's just a hint, like, hey, guys, if you know, I'm interested. You know what I mean? Chad gained independence from France on August 11, 1960, with François Tombalbaye as its first president. His rule, marked by authoritarianism and favoritism towards southern Christians, sparked ethnic tension and a civil war pitting the Muslim north against the Christian south. So that's the issue with Africans. When they come into power, they bring their tribe. Yes. That's sad. You see, in most African countries, show me an African country that doesn't have a political party that leans toward one tribe. Show me one. Show me one African country that doesn't have a political party that leans toward one tribe. They might not say it officially, but it is. When you're in there, you know. And if you don't really see it, you will see the head. They look similar. They're the similar people. Now, that's what happened in Chad. The first president after independence from the white man favored these people from the south who were Christian, disfavoring the people in the north, creating mayhem and trouble. People then remember, oh, we're actually not black. We have different tribes. We're not the same. That's what happens. France, Chad, former colonial power, has intervened militarily over 50 times since independence, often to prop up the regimes against rebellions. So basically, France has been intervening in Chad very, very much. Why? To protect the interest. How do they protect the interest? They must make sure they keep in power a president that is pro-France, so they can enter the country and get the minerals. You know how it goes. Because if you get a president that doesn't like France, what's going to happen? They're going to ask them to leave. So every time there was a rebellion and anything like this, France will send soldiers to go and fight to keep the president. During Idriss Déby's 30 years rule, France maintained significant presence. You hear the name Idriss Déby. Yes, there are two Idriss Déby. There's this one, the current president, and this one, his father. Yes, his father stayed in power for 30 years. After he passed away at war, because his father was a soldier, he took over power. He stayed transitional for a few moments, then went to election. That was contested, obviously. Elections in Africa are always contested. His father was very much pro-France. He was a good kid of France. They liked him. They protected him. They intervened to keep him in power. But he was unalive at war. The newer one is not very much pro-France. He's more open with the world. He's opened his door to Russia. Matter of fact, he asked France to take their soldiers and leave. Just after France was kicked away from Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, France felt like, okay, maybe we can go to Chad. Look at the map. You see Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger. Okay, they're being kicked out of here. Let's just go to Chad. Chad said, no, you got to take your stuff and leave. And they left. Then the French president said Africans were ungrateful. And Africa should be grateful toward France after everything France has done for these little Africans. How can you be so ungrateful? I taught you how to eat cheese, that stinky cheese. I taught you how to pronounce in français. I gave you all that je ne sais quoi that you got. How dare you challenge me?
2. We had a secure relationship. In truth, it was of two kinds. One part was our commitment to fighting terrorism since 2013. We were right. I think some have forgotten to say thank you, but that's okay. It'll come in time. I'm in a good position to know that ingratitude is a disease that cannot be transmitted to humans. But I say this for all the African governments who have not had the courage, in the eyes of their public opinion, to bear it. None of them would be in a sovereign country today if the French army had not been deployed in this region.
And then French president got very, very upset. La réponse des leaders africains à Macron. Many African leaders were not happy with the way he spoke.
When I recently consider Emmanuel Macron's remarks about Africa, every conscious African should therefore quickly understand everything he has told us and what it signifies. General Chiani recently spoke of a change in tactics or strategies of the French forces in Africa. I think he has come to confirm it. It is about dissolving and keeping a core presence, and Emmanuel Macron said it so well that we can only thank him for this sincerity, even if some wanted to pull the wool over the eyes of their population. But reality eventually catches up with them too.
How dare you speak like this? Do you understand that African people went to France to fight for you? If there were no African people fighting in France during World War II, maybe France would have not been France anymore. Maybe France would be Germany by now. Anyway, he kicked out the French. Then later on, he asked Americans. Yes, Americans were also stationed in Niger for terrorism operations. You know, they must make sure that the Nigerians are on track. You know, they're not moving too much towards Ghana. I'm just kidding. But then Chad said, you two need to leave. That's when America left Chad. So the younger Déby, as much as people think he's still authoritarian like his father, he is very open to the market, open to the Russians, open to new avenues. That's what it is, fellas. I want to know from you, what do you think? You know, do you think this is the spokesperson just speaking out of himself? I mean, why would you speak like that? What if the president doesn't like it? That's you losing your job, right? Or do you think it's a hint? Did you do it? So let's see what's up. Why do you think they want to join? Because something positive is happening, right? God bless.